Hello, listeners, and welcome to Between the Laugh Lines, the podcast where we will laugh at life's wrinkles, both literal and figurative, while exploring the stories, struggles, and successes that created those lines. I'm your host, Deb, so let's get to it. Here's a bit bio on me. I am the youngest of 4 children. Happy to say both my parents are still with us. I grew up on Long Island, aka New York. My parents did not go to college. My dad was a plumber, started at his dad's plumbing business, and my mom worked at the big electrical company on the island. My parents worked a lot, my mom sometimes the night shift, and they gave up a lot to get me, my sister, and 2 brothers all through college, which back then was an effort. Forget about now. College costs now for 4 years at a private college can be equivalent to a down payment on a house or more. I'm a full-time working mom of 2 college-age boys and married to my husband for slightly over 26 years. Holy crap, that always hits me. It's a lot. I've been working in higher education for the past 18 plus years. Just prior to that, I was at a global corporation specializing in fragrance and flavors, which was very cool. And finally, way back when I started my career off, I was at one of the former Big 6 accounting firms as a CPA. I'm passionate about music, most notably now into country pop, all things beauty and skin and hair care, and hope to empower women over 30 to embrace their evolving selves as you go through the second act of your life. Here's the thing. When we need advice, whether it's about finding the right skincare, raising your child, managing college decisions, finding a good doctor, or even planning an event, where do we usually turn first for advice? Our friends and family. That's why I started this podcast by tapping into my incredible circle of friends and family. Each week, I'll either bring you relatable and insightful conversations with people I know and trust, each an expert in their own way, or share my own experiences with my journey in the second act to help you in yours. What's a second act? Well, believe it or not, the years 30 to 60 are considered your second act. Yep, I used to think I just hit midlife when I turned 50, but only to find out I've been in it for decades. It's just another way of looking at these super intense, fast-moving, skill-building decades that set us up. Don't freak out, millennials. Stay with me. For this podcast, I want to be able to share our stories, practical advice, and laughter with those listeners in their second act. Me and my circle have been through it all, just like you, I'm sure. Between getting married, struggles getting pregnant, and then having the babies, getting divorced, raising kids with ADD, allergies, anxiety, managing schooling, work, and life through a global pandemic, interpreting our kids' sports politics. So annoying, right? Job losses, friend and parental losses, etc. I hope from each episode I can offer you one valuable piece of the magic trifecta, either entertainment, education, and/or some inspiration. Of course, as my podcast grows, I plan to bring on more visible guests to share their struggles and successes through their second act. But for now, I'm keeping it real and relatable by starting with the people who have helped me with my journey. Think of this as a mix of laughs, life lessons, and real advice from people who've been in your shoes, or at least know where to find the right pair. So grab your coffee, your glass of wine, or whatever makes you feel fabulous, and let's uncover the beauty and brilliance between the laugh lines. I figured it's best to start my first episode with a topic I know very closely, the college acceptance season. College applicants would have started receiving letters or emails anywhere from late November through December for the first round of notifications. This is just a guideline and may not be true for every U.S. university's process. Some colleges release first round and even second round of notifications much later, some January through March even. This is an exciting yet emotional time for everyone involved. The students receiving college acceptance and also letters of rejection. And parents are going to often feel the highs and lows just as much as their children. It's so important right now to just be available for your child. Let me start with my hat as a parent. Remember that this is their journey, not yours, whether or not you went to college or didn't. Of course, you're a major component because your student may need some financial assistance. We all want the best for our children, but just pause. Listen, I know when I applied to college way back when, my parents had no clue how to help, and everything was manual. Sure, we had our high school guidance counselors, but honestly, they were not as involved as high school counselors are now. Personally, I was given the option of applying to a small group of colleges, probably 4 to 5, and within certain geographical boundaries of my home, which meant it must be drivable, not longer than a 4 or 5 hour trip. Also, finances were a huge component, looking mostly at loan options. Remember, I was child number 4 going to college. My sister and brothers all went locally and commuted. My parents did not have any college cost planning, such as a 529 like people now might have. Times are way different. Firstly, electronic application submissions. Thank you, modern technology. Because I am a first-generation college student in my family, and because of my experience now working at a university, I do have a bit of an inside. I will share as much as my listeners wants to hear. I also want to note that my husband did not go to college. He entered into a trade and worked for over 30 years in that trade. He is the youngest of 8 children. Yes, 8. Definitely another episode there. So back to my boys. Both of my sons applied to about 10 to 12 colleges with my permission. I was very aware of the cost of application fees, as well as how to avoid paying those, since the cost to apply can also add up. Something to consider for those of you with students who are juniors in high school. Because I am a numbers person, I had an Excel spreadsheet with all the data laid out for each college that they each applied to, including distance from home, estimated tuition, housing and dining costs, admittance criteria, high to low reach, and major expectations were already put in my sons' minds about possible acceptance or denial to each of their choices. Maybe you can relate to this or not. In any case, now is the time to talk about your own experiences of this college notification timeline, guiding your child through what to expect. If you have not already, although I would highly encourage discussion way before now. If you did not go to college, it's okay. The important thing is to let them know you're available. Emphasize celebrating the wins while teaching resilience in the face of any rejections. Even if their top choice isn't an option anymore, remind them that there are many paths to success. Celebrate their achievements with their acceptance notifications without comparing them to others. Social media is a tough obstacle for this generation, as well as for you. Parents are going to be posting things as well. Really remind your children and yourself to focus on themselves and their journey, not anyone else's. Present alternatives if need be. Gap years, community colleges, trades, or even transfer options can be viable paths. I actually transferred to a local college after going away for a year. I turned out all right. It's important to be a sounding board, not a decision maker right now, unless of course there are deadlines for specific colleges. Students typically have until May 1, which is the United States College Decision Day, the deadline to officially make your enrollment deposit at the college your child wants to attend in the fall. This again is a general guideline. Some schools offer early decision, which is a binding commitment. So once you deposit at that college as early decision, you must attend. There's a lot of time between now and May 1 for you and your child to think and choose the right college. If you have more than one acceptance, now is the time to deep analyze and compare. Create that spreadsheet. If you need help, I have a free template available to download, which I will note at the end. Factors to consider while completing the spreadsheet: take the costs out for 4 years. And remember, college costs typically increase each year. Outreach to the colleges or research online to see exactly how much costs have increased on average each year in the past. I would use 2 to 4% if you cannot find the answer. Really important note, scholarships do not increase with the costs. They remain flat. I know that's shocking and upsetting, trust me. I don't make the rules, I'm just sharing my knowledge if you didn't already know that. But note there are always opportunities to apply for other scholarships to get additional funding through the course of the whole college period. Another discussion if interested. Once you are able to compare as many factors as possible, then dig in. Perhaps there was one that already was at the top. Perhaps another college gave your child a better scholarship package than expected. There are so many components to consider this decision. I would have a separate episode on this if listeners really wanted. For now, don't feel rushed. Honestly, it should be a family discussion. Next, have you visited the campuses that your child was accepted to? If not, that's so very important. Narrow down your visits once you've narrowed down your choices. This is yet another expense to factor in before considering booking those visits. Now, my perspective as a higher education professional. I'm an assistant vice president of enrollment management at my university. I oversee various components, all that impact a student's bill. For example, tuition, housing and dining, financial aid, student financial services, and most recently, international students. But let's stick to the basics. I cannot stress the importance of financial readiness. As I mentioned above, the cost of going to college today can range from $20,000 a year to over $100,000 a year. So times 4, that's a huge investment. It's a house, honestly. If you haven't been able to save for your child or just be independently wealthy, don't freak out. There are options, but just be sure you're considering the financial component of going to college and being real with you and your child. Of course, I'm going to stay in this lane because it's what I know best. And as I said, I can go deeper dive if listeners ask, but for now, here are the basics. The biggest tip today, compare award letters, scholarships offered, and federal or other loan options for each college. As above, if you don't have a spreadsheet, download mine or create your own. Factor in all costs beyond tuition, such as housing and dining if living on campus is a thought or a requirement. Or if not, what about the cost of buying or leasing a car if commuting, and then the maintenance of that car, the cost of books each semester. And if the college is far enough away from your home, think about the cost of travel back and forth during breaks and move in and move out times. When I said compare award letters, you can. If you have a college that your child really wants to attend, but another college, very similar in nature, offered more of a scholarship, call the admission counselor and let them know. This award letter can be a negotiating tool. It's called appealing for more financial aid. You and your child right now are the only advocates for each other, so use it to your best potential. Some universities may offer visit scholarships, such as attending an event and you could earn X dollars. Some even have contests for accepted students. Do the research. Every dollar counts. Of course, there are also outside scholarships to consider. These have nothing to do with a specific college, but more your student and their abilities. You may have already applied for some. It could be a local religious organization or a union that someone in your family belongs to, your local credit union or a bank. There are so many of those available, you just need to do the work and research and plan. I cannot stress enough about finances because so many families get so swept away with all the other factors of a university, such as the athletic programs, the prestigious name, the pretty campus. All are important factors that will weigh on your decision. But when the decision is made and invoices arrive, it can get stressful and scary. That's why I said above, it's a family decision. You don't want to be excited and proud for your child to go somewhere that you only looked at year 1 and said, we'll figure it out later. It will break your heart and theirs. Life's obstacles always hit us when unexpected, and not everyone is prepared financially to manage them. I know I wasn't, and yes, I can hear you say, "You're a CPA." Shit happens, people. Again, another episode to come on that. My team and I have to have the hard conversations all the time, and it's not easy on us as well. Yes, we can be considered the Debbie Downers. I'm going to say that only once. But I prefer to think of it as prepare now and be realistic with yourself and your child. No one wants to crush a child's dream that they cannot return to college because their invoice is still owed. My university prevents registration for a future semester if the current semester is not paid in full. We don't want you or your child to continue to accumulate debt unnecessarily. Now, of course, if things are in motion, such as a loan or other that's been discussed with us, we always work with our families. Ultimately, we want a happy ending for all our students. We want the success for them and for us as an institution. Back to costs. Consider federal financial aid. I know many are saying, "I don't want my child to have loans." I get it. I like to think of it as an investment in themselves. The goal for your child's college attendance is what? To learn, sure, create friendships, experience life, and then I hope to get a job, start a career, be an entrepreneur. So ultimately, the expectation is that they're going to earn money in return for that knowledge and experience, which can then pay towards the loan when the time comes for repayment. Of course, if you and your family have the means outright saved for the 4-year investment, great. Congratulations. Really, that is wonderful news. Or if your child received a full-ride scholarship, even better. Seriously, applaud that achievement 100 times over. Just ensure your child understands the demands of that scholarship award, whether it's academic or athletic or other, and have a backup plan. Practical tips for parents. Look, my goal today is to help you and your child be prepared to make a serious life decision. Stay calm. Your reactions can amplify or diffuse your child's emotions. Encourage research. Help them look beyond the basics of the university to find the right fit for your family. And finally, consider 4 years of finances to support this investment, not just the first one. Lastly, I wanted to end each episode with a beauty tip because it's something that I have been very passionate about my entire life. I was always fascinated by the vast products out there for every inch of our bodies. It's overwhelming, yes, but I love it. Full disclosure, I have not ventured into any cosmetic surgery. I am 53, and honestly, I just don't have the means for it, nor the full knowledge of the implication of any service. It's a scary world out there with the endless procedures we can undertake to sustain our youthful appearance. Am I curious? Absolutely. But for now, I'm sticking with exploring the products, and I love the challenge. Think of me as your new friend and resource. I will share all my great finds and hope you have successes with them too. So, beauty tip for this episode. Let's start simple. It's February and winter in the Northeast where I'm from, and freaking cold and dry. This beauty tip is hydrated lips are happy lips. I cannot get enough of lip balm. I'm a junkie. I wear it always under lipstick and then alone. My goal is to keep lip balm handy everywhere. I have at least 2 to 3 in my handbag, one in my car, one at work, one in my home office, one near my kitchen sink, and of course multiple on my nightstand. Some of my low-end brands are Nivea, Aquaphor, Blistex, all with SPF. That's a no-brainer. Go low budget for those you may put all over the place like me. My luxury items are my nightstand staples, including Laneige and La Mer. P.S. This was a gift I received from a friend. And finally, another staple, Rosebud. Check out my Insta for all my favorite pics at thedishwithdeb. And finally, as mentioned above, my free college comparison template spreadsheet is available on my Stan store, stan.store/thedishwithdeb. Oh, and one more thing. This episode is being brought to you by the Roadmap Exclusive. I'm so grateful to the founders, Zach and Hannah, for creating this self-paced online course and for me finding it. 2024 was a smack in the face for me and my family financially, and I knew I had to take some action to get prepared for my next act in life. I love to learn and realized that the world today is way different than how I grew up. Social media is a huge force in marketing and making money for, yes, you millennials and even Gen Z and even some Gen Alpha, dare I say. I had to jump on the bandwagon. This course gave me the knowledge to learn and create this podcast, digital marketing, and more. To learn more about it, check out my Stand-Star as well. It was an investment in myself that I knew I needed and also wanted to take that's being repaid as we speak. So thanks for joining me today on this episode of Between the Laugh Lines. If you enjoyed listening to today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, ask me questions, and share it with a friend. Until next time, keep living beautifully, smiling and laughing, and remember, the lines we create are worth the stories that made them.